This is Sarah Leslie with Go All In, helping entrepreneurs live the life they want to live right now, making the money they want to make the way they want to make it, while also living a rich and full life outside of their business. True personal freedom. Let's go. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so glad that you are too. All right, let's get started. So, first off, if you haven't already seen Ghostlight, now I don't know if this is even still out in theaters. I saw it in the theaters. I actually saw it at this super small theater here in Asheville called Grill House Movie Theater. I'm gonna have to get the name of that right, and I'll pop it into the show notes for any of you that are local in Asheville. It's in downtown in the Arts District, and it's precious, and you get to see the movie with 30 other humans. It's just very small theaters. And when I've been there, Troy and I have gone, it's been packed out, sold out, and it's just been a unique experience. I used to go to the movies all of the time, and you would have this really intimate experience with moviegoers, the other moviegoers that were there with you, and you'd like sense the energy of the other people in there. And since COVID and since movie theaters have radically upgraded their seats, that doesn't happen anymore because you're like super spread out and, there's just less people in the theater and less people going to the movies, at least where we are anyway. We've been going to this movie theater and it's been a really unique experience. And there were like lots of, oohs and ahs and oh, and just feeling along with it. And if you're anything like me, I love movies that have that transformational theme behind them. I love good action, good comedy, all kinds of movies, and I most appreciate the ones that have a transformational element to them. So Ghostlight definitely did. I highly recommend it. And if you haven't seen Inside Out 2 yet, definitely for sure see that one because it really helps you understand so much more about how your mind works, which is most of what I help people with is better understanding the human mind, how your mind specifically works. And as you learn how your mind actually works, you get to work smarter, right? You've heard the phrase smarter, not harder. This is how you do it, like for real. So let's get started. Right in line with that, our topic for today is the fear of success a real thing? And I'm going to propose most definitely it is, and we're going to chat about it. So the number one thing that's blocking you from having what you want, right? Really, really having the things that you desire in your life, right? And allowing you to create them on your own terms rather than the way that you think you should be doing things, right? Is basically the way I think about it is not being able to embrace all of the goodness that life has to offer you. That's the number one block. Now, you might think about it a little differently, right? But it's this essence of not being able to fully receive all that God has to give to you, the universe, life, however your spiritual orientation proposes, right? But it's basically this sentiment of putting a limit on how much you'll allow in. So the way that we know that that's true, or the way that I have come to know that that's true, is because, like, when I look around, there are lots of people who are doing really well, right? And when I say well, like, they have the things their heart desires, whether that's money or love or relationships or children or whatever it is, right? The house that they want in whatever location, all the things. And so when you can't, when your heart, right, and your experience of life is closed off, you're just simply going to be limited in what you're able to receive. So another way you could hear that is if you notice that there's a lot of things that you're wanting and you're going for or you're hoping come in, and then you're noticing how
you can't really touch them, you can't really bring it in close enough, or it feels like far away from you, then this is what's happening. There's a limit. You have created an invisible limit to keep yourself from being able to allow stuff into your life because, again, other people have it. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have it too, whatever it is that you're wanting. Okay. So, again, just for clarification, the reason is unknown to you, right? Because it's unconscious, right? So, we're looking for, like, well, why is that happening? It's not yet known to you. It's unconscious. It's something going on in the recesses of your mind. If you've seen Inside Out too, you know that what I'm talking about from the visual, beautiful animated visuals that they give you. But it's this sentiment of where Joy puts the memories, the life experiences that she thinks are like not going to be fun for Riley to think back on, putting it in the recesses of your mind, which becomes the unconscious mind. It becomes the things we're not consciously thinking about. So, the way that we get to the unconscious is what I simply refer to as doing the inner work, doing the internal work. And another way that you could hear it, especially if you've seen Inside Out too, is bringing those life experiences and those beliefs that we've attached to those life experiences out from the recesses of our mind and into the conscious, into our current conscious awareness, right? Another way I just say that is bringing it front and center. So let's say another way you could say that is like things in the back of the closet, right? Do you know what's in the back of your closet? I do an amazing job of keeping our house super decluttered. Troy does help me, of course, and I'm really the one that's pretty like on top of that. And also, I have a bin in the bottom of my office closet. And it's just like a large, 13-gallon tub. And I've given myself the freedom and permission to just throw shit in there. Which, if you're anything like me or you know me over the years of life, that doesn't quite fit my personality or it didn't fit my personality before. It fits my personality now where I'm giving myself more freedom to not have to have everything perfectly organized, which is very freeing. And it's organized enough because it's all inside this tub. So that is all to say that there are a lot of things. I mean, let's say there's like a handful of things for sure. Like I couldn't tell you everything that's in that tub. I probably could tell you half of what's in that tub right now, but only half. The mind is similar, right? The numbers are much greater of the things we're not consciously aware of or the things we don't regularly think on. And it's the same kind of concept. So you could just think about for yourself, like, do you know what's in the back of your closet? I Most people for sure have at least one closet where they're like, I don't even go in there because it's scary. So that being said, right? The thing that we are required to be willing to do in order for life to be more easeful and for us to receive the things that we want more easily is to go to some of those places. And really, it's whatever specific place you need to go to right now. So, some people could hear me saying this and you might think, like, oh, I got to go back, like, over all the bad memories. Or I got to go back through like all the things that feel really hard for me. No, you just need to be willing to look at the very specific things that are currently blocking you. So that's not going through everything. It's going through a select set of things, again, unconscious to you right now. And this is the work that I do with people, right? Because to do it on your own, it's like, where would you start? Where would you begin? Like it would just feel overwhelming to really be able to go through it completely on your own. Yes, there's always an element to doing the work on your own. And also, it's so much more beautifully done when you have a guide, a coach, a leader, somebody who can very strategically and consciously go in there with you and pull out just things we really need to look at for right now. So we know that other people have the things that they want. We know that other people feel really good about their lives. We know it's possible. Therefore, it is possible for you. Okay. So important. I'm going to say that like a lot right now in frequent, subsequent podcasts because I want you to really hear it is available for you. 100% I'm certain of it. So these are the things that prevent you from ultimately being successful. Okay. So the way that ties together is being able to recognize and see those particular life experiences, beliefs that you hold, sets of beliefs that you hold that lead to your behavior and your actions, right? It does boil down to leading to your or not leading to your success. Therefore, the freedom of success, the fear of success, excuse me, we want that for you. The fear of success is so real and so palpable. And oftentimes it just gets viewed as the fear of failure. I think it's maybe a little bit more powerful to even recognize that it's the fear of success that is currently holding you back from having the success that you're desiring. Because again, you're focusing on what you really want. So again, it's not to say that fear of failure isn't in there, of course, right? If we're fearful of success, we're also fearful of failure. And also, I think it's a really unique and interesting thing to look at when you're out there crushing it, loving your business, wanting more great things for yourself and for your life and your family and all the people in your world. And you notice that you're like putting these roadblocks in front of you and in your path. It's also really useful to look at it and be like, oh, that's so interesting. I'm literally keeping myself from being successful. So when we look at these unconscious beliefs, unconscious thinking, and we're able to do the inner work and we're able to separate from those unconscious beliefs and make them where there's simply something we're now aware of, but we're no longer in alignment with, everything changes. Okay. This is where the ease comes in. This is where the massive shifts, the quantum leaps, if you will, you know, very quick shifts and turnarounds. This is where that happens. Is that when you're able to bring an old belief, an old way of living into the conscious mind, into the current awareness where you can think on it, you can look at it, and then you separate yourself from it, right? It becomes like an outside entity that you can simply observe that sometimes happens that you fall back into, but it's no longer what you're consciously choosing to live out. That's where the magic happens. So, this is where people go wrong, right? Is they get into alignment with the unconscious belief or thought, right? They become in alignment with something that is actually counter to their current goal, their current desire. Okay. So you're not doing this on purpose. It's so important to really hear that and remember you're not doing it on purpose. So if you're not doing it on purpose, you're actually doing it unconsciously, right? Completely just out of your awareness. And you're aligning with something that has simply been true for you up till now. Okay. And again, this is happening all the time for every human, even the most successful people, whatever you determine as success. So, this is how we naturally operate. We align ourselves with beliefs that we've held for years and years and years, simply because that's the way your mind operates. And it is what is keeping you from your success. There's a part of you that feels fearful to become successful because ultimately, in order for you to become successful, you actually have to let go of the old way of being. Okay. So if you grew up in the church, you heard things like the old self, right? Casting off the old self and putting on the new self. Okay. It's true. That's actually how this works, right? It's actually very scientific. It's not only spiritual, but it's also very scientific. In order for us to become something new, we must let go of the old way. Just like logically, literally, that has to happen. So we're not as quick oftentimes to let go of something that we have, right? It's also like back in the closet. There's a reason all of that stuff is in there. I think I might need it at some point. I feel attached to it. I don't really want to throw it away because it means something to me, or I got it as a gift, or I bought it for a specific reason, a celebration, and now it's like hard because it's sentimental, or any other, there's several different other reasons, right? It cost a certain amount of money. And so therefore I put a certain type of meaning to it. And so it's in the bottom of my closet in this bin. Okay. And that's happening for you and everyone else all the time in your mind also, right? Because it's the same thing that's going on in your mind. We have like old thoughts that we just haven't taken the time to go into the different closets, the different rooms in our mind and declutter them. So when you have awareness and you take the time to become aware of what thoughts, belief sets are actually hiding out in rooms that maybe are super dusty and you don't go in them anymore, rooms in your mind, right? And you start to declutter and sift through the room, you quickly realize like, oh yeah, I totally don't believe that anymore. Or, oh, I didn't totally know that I believed that. And I can see how I believe that. And I'm kind of scared about letting that go because if I let go of that, that means I won't be able to identify with this other certain group of people in my life. And if I can't identify with those certain people anymore, who will I be? Okay. This is the most common reason, thought pattern, why people have a fear of success. Because ultimately, success means that there will be potentially, most likely, some people who you will no longer have the same kind of relationship with as you do right now. Does that make sense? So, we believe and say things, basically, just in another way of summarizing it, right? We believe and say things that contradict what we actually want. Okay. And this is just happening for everybody to remember. A question you can consider for yourself to actually do some of this on your own is, what thoughts am I currently aligning with that contradict what I ultimately want, right? That contradict the success I'm looking to achieve. Again, it's very hard to actually do this on your own. And it's even harder to do it on your own to actually identify the things that you most need to look at, because naturally we're going to avoid those things the most. So the closer they feel to us, the more we're going to want to protect them, which means our mind will keep them from your own awareness in an effort to protect you. Okay? Because it knows, part of you knows, that if you separate from these people, you're potentially going to be threatened or feel really unsafe for at least some period of time. However, right, that's like the big scary monster in the closet. Once you actually go over to the closet and you open the door, you realize it's not really in there. But until you know that, you believe it's in there, and therefore it is truly terrifying to consider going over and opening the door. So do not underestimate how powerful this hidden belief set is, because it is literally preventing you from having the success that you desire right now in your life. So for an example, right? And before I even give you the example, the solution here is to increase your own self-awareness. You want to be able to find what is the competing need, competing fear, competing goal, right? That's counteracting creating exactly what you want. So, asking yourself a series of questions to do some deep dive probing will certainly help move you forward. And again, to really leap forward and get super clear and get yourself out of the unknown and the struggle that you're currently in this area, the best thing is to hire somebody to be able to help you quickly and easily identify it so that you can get past it. Okay? Because again, nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. You can get good at feeling uncomfortable, and also nobody really wants to stay in the uncomfortable for very long. So, that's the work that I do with people, is helping them to really get laser focused on exactly what it is they need to be looking at, and then help them easily move through it. Sometimes that takes a hot minute. Other times it's like a quick turnaround. It's really about learning to be patient with yourself and not pressure yourself to get through it faster, or pressure yourself to feel like there's something wrong in the meantime, which is where we want to learn to live in the journey, right? Okay, so the solution then is allowing yourself to increase your self-awareness, right? To be able to get more clear and understanding of where it is you're misaligned. Okay, and then you're teasing it out, which typically happens through really strategic, useful conversation, to be able to get more and more and more clear, and also to get yourself more and more on board with letting go of the old way. So again, if you're really attached to a favorite shirt, or, I don't know, your first podcast microphone or briefcase that somebody bought for you, right? You're really attached to it. It probably is going to take you a lot longer to declutter of that thing because you're so attached to it. It's literally the same thing going on in your mind when you're super attached to a certain belief, like making money is hard, or making money takes a lot of work, or being a business owner feels really overwhelming, or being a business owner is all consuming, or I can't have a really rich love life and be a really rich business owner. Just to name a few that I've heard in the last few weeks, right? Until you're able to really find that intrusive belief that we don't know is there, it will be hard to let go of it. And then even once you do find it, you're like, ooh, but I think it's really true. Or, well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes that's true, right? Because it's something that you learned along the way. And now naturally, right? For you to say oh, I don't believe that anymore, or no, that's no longer useful. It's the same thing as taking one of those items I mentioned before to Goodwill. You're going to have feelings about it. That's just totally normal, which is again why it is so important and just so much more supportive to have an expert to be able to help you let go of that thing, of that belief, of that way of thinking about things. Does that make sense? So I named off a bunch of things, and you inside of business, it's I just want to be comfortable, right? Which literally contradicts so many things about business, which is all about growth. And I just want to make enough money to pay the bills. Again, that's a contradictory thought to saying I want big success, or I want to make lots of money, or I want to go on great vacations. But then you turn around and you say, I just want to make enough to pay the bills. So again, that's where you would be having competing thoughts, competing goals, again, without even realizing it. And when you allow yourself to get that teased out, straightened out, figured out, and you release the old way of thinking about it, that's when the freedom comes. And I'm talking radical, radical freedom. Freedom to create the results that you want, right? Freedom to be successful. Freedom to feel good internally, right? Freedom to do things in a new way that your mind can't even conceive of right now because you're still in so much alignment to the old way without even knowing it. So again, if you knew, you would do it differently, but you don't know. And that's okay. It's beautiful. Like life is all about growth and new learning opportunities so that we can become the new being, right? And when you become the new being, you experience new things. That's how it works all the time. So if you're looking to create new results, if you want more success, if you're wanting more love, whatever it is you're wanting more of, or you're wanting new and different, it does mean you've got to let go of something else. Okay. And it's something that's old that you're not aware is there. That's the part that feels so unintentionally and unconsciously terrifying. Always. That's always what it is first. Okay. So I've distilled it down into a very simple process here. And I also just want to caveat to say if you're in the process of doing the work, right, you'll have times where you're like, man, I've been working on this one thing for so long. You could feel that way, right? Maybe it's been a year and a half, 2 years. That's okay. There are some streams, patterns, thought patterns, belief sets that are so deeply entrenched in you, it can't take that amount of time. And it doesn't mean you won't start having success immediately. Like as soon as you're doing the work, you will start to experience the benefits. You will just also find that you fall back into the old way and then need to get pulled back into the new way and have that feeling of back and forth. I sometimes call it the roller coaster ride. Whereas other things will just pop up and you'll have clarity and freedom like immediately and never have to talk about it again. So it happens in both ways. And I just want to spell that out for you because I know I have certain things that I feel like I've been working on them forever. And also, there are a lot of things that you can begin to do the inner work on. And maybe you already have started to do the inner work on. And it shifts so quickly. It feels like magic. All right, you guys, as always, I love that you're here. I love being here with you. Like and subscribe. Like this episode and subscribe to the channel to continue getting notifications when new episodes download. I will drop that one link here in the show notes. And between now and when I see you next, go be extraordinary. Ready to hire your own personal one-to-one mentor to help you take your life and your business to the next level? Go to my website where you can sign up for a no charge, no pressure consultation where we can get to know each other better. I get to hear your vision. I'll help you understand exactly what's getting in your way. And if it feels like a good fit and I believe I can help you, we'll talk about what it looks like to work together.